Hi everyone and welcome to the Cavalier squad. I'm Isabella and today I'm going to be sharing with you my dog Quinn's first labour story. So basically she was in first stage of labour for about 24 hours. Very restless, kept digging everywhere, panting, just generally not herself, didn't want anything to do with food. And then towards the end of the 24 hours she was lying down quite a lot, but again still panting. Her temperature had dropped. She also had a little show with clear fluid leaking. And then we got to the second stage of labour, which was short in comparison to the first, but it still did last quite a considerable amount of time in terms of, it was several hours. But with the second stage, it was more obvious. She started gathering all the puppies, toys, and treating them like puppies. She'd take them to a bed with her and lie down. And she seemed a little bit more settled than she was in the first stage of labour. In the second stage, she was lying down a lot more, as I said, but still panting. And then she decided she wanted to get out of her whelping box and she found a cushion where she wanted to give birth on, and her first little one was born. It was one push and she was out, and that was little Ariel. She gave her a good clean and everything else and had a cuddle. I got her warmed up and straight on to feed, because obviously that colostrum is really important initially to get that in them after labour. So she had a nice little feed, and then Lexi was born, I'd say about an hour later. Just under an hour later, Lexi was born. That was our second Cavalier, and again, one push and she was out. I cleaned her all up and everything else. I did decide to cut the umbilical cord. Initially, I let Quinn have a go, but she was much more interested in eating the placenta than she was in cutting the cord, and she was pulling the placenta because she wanted to eat it. So I thought it was safer for Ariel to actually cut the cord. So after that, I gave a little bit of time, for all the nutrients and everything else to come through the cord, and then I did cut the cord. So Lexi was born, and we thought we were done because it seemed like a very long time before the next one. So we were all relaxed. Quinn was completely relaxed, completely back to normal, lying there happily feeding Ariel and Lexi, and suddenly Mr. Noah popped out, and I didn't even see a push. He just popped out. And if it was a push, it was a tiny one. He popped out, and again got him all cleaned up and everything else. Quinn did most of the cleaning. I just helped remove the sac because she would tend to start on the bum rather than the face, and I wanted to make sure they were breathing okay. I did use a little nasal aspirator, but it was a bit big, to be honest. I got it in a puppy pack, but it was a little bit big. It would be fine for the throat, but up the nose was not. Well, obviously don't put it up the nose, but it was really quite too big for the nose. But I did clear the throat just in case. But to be honest, I didn't really need to do that too much with the first three because Quinn had started licking them and they were moving around well, and you could tell there was no issues. So Noah then joined Ariel and Lexi, and then we thought we were done, and it was a good hour then. And then suddenly Quinn let out a yelp, and out half popped Mr. Luca. Now he was breech, and he got stuck, so she didn't push at all after that. There was no pushing. I don't know whether it was from exhaustion or she was just done, or there was no contractions. I don't know, but I got some petroleum jelly when I could see there was no way he was coming out, put it around him, and it slowly helped get him out. When he came out, he wasn't breathing. It was quite scary. I did CPR, loads of rubbing initially to see if that would work, aspirated and everything else. That wasn't working. I did CPR on him, and then he was gasping for air for a while, but then eventually his heart did start properly and he was breathing normally. However, he was crying, and he cried for about 30 minutes afterwards, and it was heartbreaking. We thought there was something seriously wrong with him, ready to call the vet. It was just very scary. However, I warmed him up with a hot water bottle. I also put him on to feed. I also gave him a syringe of milk just in case he was too exhausted to feed. And then eventually he did settle, calm down, and now he's completely normal, completely like all his brothers and sisters. So I think it was just the trauma of what happened. And I also do think he was hungry and upset, and having CPR and everything else is not nice. And I think he was just done with the whole birth process. He was just very, very emotional. But then he did, as I said, settle completely, and he's just like everyone else now. They're all gaining weight really well. They're all over a pound now. They're all actually 1 week old when I'm filming this video, although you probably see this video slightly after, which point they'll probably be 2 or 3 weeks old. However, I would say it was an amazing experience, although it was scary at the end. we thought we were done. So don't be surprised if you suddenly have more puppies after you think you're done, because Quinn was completely relaxed after the first two, as though nothing more was to come. So it was a big shock that we got Noah, and then it was an even bigger shock that we had Luca too. We thought there was only 3 initially, so it was a big shock to have a 4th. We did phone the vet during the first stage of labour because, as I said, we were approaching the 24-hour mark and we were getting worried. However, they told us to take a temperature, take it again in 2 hours, and if it hadn't dropped, to phone them. However, it had, so we didn't need to phone them back, and everything took its course naturally. I did let her clean them and do everything as much as possible natural, in the natural way. I did interfere with taking the sack off the face because, as I said, she tended to concentrate on the bum area. And then I also did cut the cord because she was very interested in eating the placentas, so I wanted to make sure she wasn't pulling too much on the cord for the babies. However, we only let her eat 3 out of the 4 because it can cause an upset stomach apparently. But it does have a lot of nutrients in there, so I do think it is a balance, and she was very interested in eating them. So I'll let nature take its course. And yes, that's everything. If you've got any questions, definitely leave them below. It was an amazing experience, as I said, apart from at the end when it was a bit scary, but we've been so blessed because they're all beautiful and doing so well. So don't forget to follow along if you want to see them all grow up. We are keeping them all, so you'll see a week by week transition to them becoming adults, and it's going to be amazing. So take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.